I just made the difficult decision to take all of my savings and pay off my truck. Some might think this is a bad financial decision, but I think it's one of the best decisions I've made so far. Here's why. So yep, I just paid off my truck, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it was a very, very tough decision. I had this money sitting in my bank account for a long time, and this was money that I earned because I sold my vending business and came out on top and had some savings already saved up. Just decided that the money was sitting in my bank account for a while. I was trying to buy a laundromat and it just wasn't happening. I realized a lot of these owners are seeking some pretty insane numbers, and I just decided, look, this money's sitting in my bank account this long. Let me just knock out the debt. And I feel way freer than I've ever actually felt before because I have a reliable vehicle that for a while was causing me to pay $600 per month just to have it, plus the insurance of $200, plus all the gas, plus all the other things that came with having a payment on a truck. You know, I was getting 7% interest, just absolutely getting crushed on my interest payments. And you know, it was nice having that 25K sitting in my bank account for a little bit. It felt like I was rich, but I wasn't. And that was the biggest thing, is I started spending like I had money that I didn't even have. Because let's be real, I was in the hole 25 grand on my truck, and I also have student loans that I was 25K in the hole on. And so for the longest time, I guess, you know, because I had read Robert Kiyosaki and other books, I thought, oh, okay, you know, debt isn't that bad as long as it fuels my business. Well, this was just a absolute, you know, pit hole for my business. I was losing so much money. I had no freedom, no mobility to do the things I actually wanted to do. I had no opportunities to take any risks because I was so worried about missing my truck payment and getting my truck repoed. I will say I feel so great now because I have mobility. I don't have this giant debt burden each month. And there's a lot to be said for that state of mind. And I know Dave Ramsey says it, all these other financial gurus say it, but until you actually experience, you won't know what it feels like. And now I have so much, I guess, pride in being able to pay it off that I'm obviously making this video, but also I am working on paying off my student loans as soon as possible. Because there's just, you know, as you know, we're kind of stuck here in the rat race if you work a 9 to 5, and you're a little scared to take some risks because you have bills to pay. And a lot of these bills come back to just burdens that you put on yourself, responsibilities that you put on it yourself. You know, whether it was going to college and getting a bunch of student loans, or getting a truck that you thought would make you feel good if you owned it, and ultimately just drained your bank account each month. Or, you know, you spend money on bottle service, going to the clubs every night, traveling all the time. These are all things that feel good in the moment, but long term they cause you to be stuck in whatever you're doing. And for me, mine was my truck, and then obviously my student loans. Now, of course, I wouldn't trade these for anything, maybe my truck, but because you learn so much along the way, they make you into who you are. You know, the student loans, you know, sure, would I go back and do college again? Heck no. I think it's a complete waste of money. But I learned so much throughout college, and I got so much more mature that I don't think if I just went out into the world, you know, maybe I could have learned things that way as well, but I got to see what that lifestyle was like, what college was like, and I got to see how the devil traps you in the rat race, how the devil makes you stuck by causing you to fall into addictions, by causing you to get into a lot of debt, all these other things that the devil does to entrap you. I wouldn't have learned that if I hadn't have dipped my toe in the water and realized, oh wait, I don't want to go this route. Let me go a different route. Because your parents might say stuff and try to tell you, you know, give you advice, but you never actually take it into account until you experience it for yourself. And my parents weren't actually telling me anything about debt or anything about how the devil traps you. They weren't teaching anything about that. But I had to learn for myself, and now I know for my future kids that, hey, if you want to go into debt, that's your prerogative, but here's why you shouldn't, and and I can at least have some experience to speak to. That was a very long-winded way to say that I feel more free than I've ever felt, and I feel like I can take some big risks, and I'm going to. And I'm just planning what's next for me, but I'm gonna say it's just a giant burden that's lifted off your shoulders when you're able to pay off debt like that. And now I have some more fire to go attack work and get that money back, because I work in sales, so I have that fire to go and work hard and try to make money and get my money back to where it was. And then, you know, I'll probably pay off my student loans, and just at that point, you know, if I hit rock bottom, which every budding entrepreneur has hit rock bottom at some point, the downside won't be as bad as it could be. Like, hey, my student loans are paid off, my truck is paid off, I don't have a mortgage. I can literally get a trailer and just drive that thing around, live out of that, or live out of my truck and just make things happen. That's the dream for me, is just having that freedom. That's one of my core principles, and that's why I make these videos, because I want to help others become financially free, and I want to help others escape the rat race and do things that they love to do. And whether it's through boring businesses or it's their own thing, whether it's, you know, freelance work or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's just, I want everybody to be able to live at their fullest potential. And one of the ways to do that is to get rid of debt as soon as possible, because it causes you to think differently. It causes you to act differently, because you're scared. It puts you in a fear-based mindset rather than a faith-based mindset. And so I want all y'all to, you know, believe in yourselves, because, man, you can do anything you want. This world is incredible, and we're so blessed to be here. So that's all I have for y'all in today's video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.